everyone and welcome back to another video. In this episode we're going to be working on the Forester. Again, I know, but we're going to be doing front suspension arms, new hubs and new wheel bearings. So stay tuned and hopefully it doesn't get too hard. We'll see. So long story short, what happened is that I was driving the car a couple of days ago and I heard a bit of a knock coming from the front suspension, and at the beginning it seemed like it was on the near side front, so basically left hand, and checked the drop links thinking maybe that would be the cause of it. They were quite nice and tight, and so what I did the next day, I went to work, put it on the ramp and checked it underneath. I grabbed the anti-roll bar one side and the other, just wiggle it a bit, and on the actual driver side I could feel that there was a bit of a play. So I just went, got my 17 spanner and my Allen key, put it there, start tightening it, and what I can see, and I'm going to put this picture now here, is that the bracket, basically where the link gets attached to the suspension arm, wishbone, whatever you want to call it, is cracked. It has like a hair cracked, and as many of you might know, when you buy the wishbone, it comes with the bushes and it comes with a ball joint. So we're going to be taking all of this out, which should come in one unit. And hopefully, and if you watch this video up here, you know why I'm saying this, the pinch ball won't snap and we won't have to drill it out. So that's the only thing that I'm actually dreading at the minute. Everything else should be, and I said should be, last famous words. It should be quite straightforward. So I'll show you what we're going to do now then. As you can see, I got the car on these ramps, so we got a bit more clearance, and let's go underneath and I'll show you what we're going to do first. Alright, so the things that we need to remove is that pinch ball there, which is supports a ball joint against a knuckle, then this nut here, which is basically your drop link, and then we're going to have, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you at the minute, so I'll show you a bit later. We're going to have basically, we're going to have that bolt that you can see there. There's going to be another one on this side and one right up here somewhere. Since we're going to be jacking up the car at the front, let me show you the plate that I believe most Subarus have. So right at the back of the engine, you got that plate there, and you can jack it up just alongside here. Don't get on the bolts, just go on the actual plate. And as that is your oil sump, right behind that, you'll be able to see that plate I'm talking about. You know the drill. We jack it up, we put our jack stands or axle stands, we make sure the car is secure and not moving, get the wheel off, and we go from there. First thing I want to remove is this pinch bolt, just in case it snaps, and then we're going to have to spend quite a bit drilling it and then re-tap it and all that kind of thing. What am I going to do now is use some WD-40 or rust off or anything like that, lubricate it again, maybe give it a couple of more shocks with the hammer, not too hard, just to see if we can move it that tiny bit with its being sat probably, who knows. I don't even know if this is the OEM ball joint, but I'd say a good 10 years if not, it's been there. So I'm going to try to give myself the best chance possible. As well, I'm going to heat it up a bit. Just be careful with the CV boot, don't burn that. So what I'm going to do is put a metal plate just around the CV boot and just try to heat the actual bolt itself. So let's see what happens. And as you can see, it did snap. Started rotating and it felt good. I lubricated, I heat it up many times, and yeah, so we're gonna have to start drilling now. Bear in mind, I'm going to be drilling my pinch bolts in situ since I'm going to be replacing the knuckle anyway. But if you're going to drill your pinch bolt, I recommend you to remove the knuckle. I know it's a ball ache, I know you have to take the tie rod end off, I know you have to take the axle nut off, I know you have to take your ABS sensor, I know you have to take your 2 bolts for the shock absorber, and that could mess with the camber. But I'll let you know when we get to that point what we're going to do about the camber and how to fit it, hopefully almost bang on as it was before. The only reason why I'm saying to you to remove the knuckle and drill it on your bench or anywhere you can drill it is because in situ you can access to it straight. So when you're going to be drilling, you might and drilling in an angle. I mean, you can, by all means, a lot of people do this. You can drill the hole, make the hole a bit bigger, and just put a nut and bolt on the other side. But that's not what I like doing. Call me stupid. I just like OEM look, so we're gonna go for that. You want to put just a new pinch bolt there. You want to just re-tap it and put a new pinch bolt. I extremely recommend you to remove your knuckle out and drill it outside the car. You have to do it quite slow. Try to get as central as you can, and then go just bit by bit. And what I mean with that is, just for example, if you start with like a 2.5 mil drill bit, go 3, 3.5, 4, 5, and then start making the hole a bit bigger around it with the smaller drill bits, so then you can get a bigger one and it's not gonna break. At the moment I broke 2 5.5 mil drill bits. Luckily it was quite easy to get them out, but yeah, that's what I mean. Just take it easy. This is the third time I tried to get one out, and I only managed to get one, the first one that I ever did. That one came out quite easily. The last two just snapped on me. So yeah, be gentle with them. Take your time, walk away for a bit if you have to, if you're too annoyed, too angry, and just come back to it. It's M10 by 1.5, you can see there. Now this one's M10s by 125, if I'm not wrong, because as you can see that matches the thread, but this is too small, and this one doesn't match the thread, but it's the same size. So I ordered a M10 1.25, which should be here tomorrow, so we can keep on drilling, and hopefully we can re-tap it. I'm not going to make this video another video of me drilling. I'll leave here the other one, which the mistake that I made that time and I'm not making now, because I'm learning, is I did drill a hole till the point that I am right now with one of those extractor bolts, and I started doing it, started turning, and bam, it snapped. And then I tried to go through diamond tip drill bits, the carbide burrs and all that kind of shit, but things like this happen. The thing is, you see so many people, either you take your car to the garage or you see many people on YouTube and they go and replace it and it's happy there so easily. And you know, sometimes you have to be lucky, like it happened to me the first time I tried to do it with the impressor, came out easily. And sometimes shit like this happen. This is the reality when you live in a country that get proper winters, the cars corrode, all the salt and chemicals that we spread on the road so we don't slide all over the place. You know, at the end of the day, this is the price that we have to pay for it. So things like that happen in shit, and you know, I hate it, and trust me, I'm so annoyed because I thought I could have done both arms today, but it is what it is. Let's just finish the coffee, get back to it, and hopefully we can get this done in the next day or so. If you're not going bolts out like I am and replacing the knuckle as well, what you're going to be doing is taking off the caliper, taking off the caliper carrier, taking off your disc. What we're going to do now is take our drop link out. All we're going to need is a 17mm spanner, a number 5 Allen key, a T30 and a ratchet. And the reason why I'm using a T30 is because if you see, grabs a lot better than the 5. That's the Allen key. I know they are Allen keys, but sometimes they get corroded, and then this one round and it won't hold properly. So in the end, I got the number 5 Allen key, tap it in with a rubber hammer, and then start to turn it. Remember to lubricate it with anything such as like a WD-40, rust off, I don't know, PV blaster, whatever you want to use. Let it soak for a bit, and just carefully start taking it out. As you can see, we succeed to actually get it off. What I'll do now is we're going to remove that nut there, not all the way, which is going to create a gap between the actual arm on the knuckle, and I'll show you why in a minute. So let's get that pin off and unwind that nut a bit. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're not new to the rodeo, so you know what the pins look like. As you can see, my ones, I cut them off because I couldn't really get them through the other side. They're all corroded and they're not going to go through anyway. So I just decided to chop them. You're not going to be using this nut, you're not going to be using the arm, and you're not going to be using the ball joint. So the important thing is to get them out, and that's what we're doing. So let's crack this nut. What you do with this is basically you put it between the arm and the ball joint, and then hammer here. As you can see, it's been hammered 20,000 times, and one is in there and it's quite nice and tight. You can hammer a couple of times here. Bear in mind this is going to come back on you, so hammer a couple of times here and then hammer it back in, and you'll see that at some point you're going to be able to, as you can see, our arm is now nice and loose. Once we go caliper out of the way, caliper carrier and disc, what I'm going to attempt to do now is remove the ABS sensor. And when I say attempt, it's because these little bolts sometimes they snap and then they're a bit of a nightmare to get around. So let's try to get that out. If I remember correctly, that was a 10 mil, and I lied, it wasn't a 10, it's a 12. So let's try to be very gentle with this. See what happens. Yes, it's so satisfying when you manage to get it out without snapping it. Look at that, it's basically brand new. And here we go, ABS sensor. What I like to do, and it might be a bit of overkill, is just to wrap it around in bubble wrap so I don't hit it against anything, and then just cable tie somewhat out of the way so we don't hit it either. The way that I removed it was with a screwdriver, small screwdriver like this. Just gently, and I said gently, I know I repeat that 20,000 times, but you have to on this one. Tap it underneath, start going all around it very, very gently, and then you can just go with a small like pry bar, start gently tapping it, going up and down so it wiggles, and then with your hand you will start be able to actually wiggle it. If you feel that's not enough, just go with a bigger one, and then just go up and down, wiggle it with your hand, very, very gentle, and it will come out. Since we're here, the next one is going to be our tie rod end, and that has a clip that goes from here through and then upwards, like a safety feature, so we need to get that out. We'll see how we can get that out, since we're going to have to put a new pin in there, and then we can remove the knot, we can drop this, and we can proceed. Once we got the pin out, it's a 19 mil. Let's try to get it out. The next thing we're removing is the 32 mil axle nut. The reason why I'm removing the nut before removing the two bolts on the shock absorber is because I don't want all the weight of the knuckle to be on the axle. What we're going to do now is tap the axle back a bit so it becomes loose, and once we take them two out, we can just extract it. When it comes to tap the axle back so it becomes loose, you don't have to go fucking crazy about it. Grab a hammer, tap it in the middle a few times, and look, once you tap it with a hammer a few times, you would be able to push it out. So just leave it there for the meantime, and I'll show you what we're doing next. Once the nut is off, if your arm is not loose, just get the ball joint remover tool or any sort of bar, put it in between them with the hammer a couple of times, and you should be able to remove it. This part is very important, so what I want you to do is clean as much as you can around this. You want it nice and dry, so nothing is slippery there. Okay, you want it nice and dry so you can make some marks. What we're gonna do with something like this, we're gonna make a mark on our bolt, like for example there, right? And we're gonna make a mark straight directly to either the shock up here, or you can do it, for example, on the side here, or you can do it on the side there. Same thing with both. If I remember correctly, the only one that matters is this one for your camber, but I'm gonna mark both just in case. Once they're marked and you're happy where your marks are, what I do normally is take a few pictures just in case, and then what we're gonna do is just put on 19 mil on this side, and then with the dagger on the other side and try to get out. Now that we tackled the driver's side, I'm gonna go and make myself a coffee, well deserved, and start doing the other side. You don't have to watch it, but I'm gonna have to do it, so let's get it done. Who would have thought that the pinch hole from the other side would have just come out straight fucking clean? I mean, I don't know if this is OEM because it has a crusher washer there, and the ones that I know, they don't have it, so I suppose maybe it's been replaced, who knows, but it's satisfying and fucking annoying at the same time, because I thought that was gonna snap as well, but well, I suppose it's that's how things go sometimes. Once our assembly is removed, we can proceed to remove the suspension arm. We're gonna have two 19 bolts, one here and one on the other side, which we're gonna have to remove this plastic cover. Since you can see there's a hole there which comes from the bottom, and allow us to remove that one. And we go at 17. Let me shine the line for you. The 17 is there, which goes across the subframe, and it comes to this side here. So we go a 17 nut and bolt. I've removed the chassis brace as well, and what I'm going to do is clean everywhere and repaint it. I removed it essentially so I can get better access to the wishbone bolts. It's not a big of a deal. You have to be careful though, because the bolts will be corroded, and I'm going to show you. Look at this. The garage is a mess at the minute. I got tools everywhere, but I got all my bolts laid out. So this is how they come out, from the back all the way to the front. So this one's basically would go at the front like this, and this will be probably like that. So then I know. But what I was talking about corrosion is, look at this. Look at this bolt. Look at this bolt. Half of it has been eaten. You see, so we have to be very, very careful to get them out. As usual, nothing is easy. And as you can see, the other one on the other side came out easily. This one is rotating. And it's because in here, inside here where we can get to, there is a nut which is being welded from factory, and from some fucking reason when I was taking it out, it just broke the welds. And I'm really annoyed that that nut on the wishbone broke the welds on it. I wasn't even crazy at it. It was spinning properly, coming down, and all of a sudden it just kept on spinning. So that's a really massive pain that I wasn't counting on it. I was counting with the ball joint being a twat. I was counting with the wishbone bush being seized. I knew all of those, but I didn't know this one. What we're going to do now is something that I don't recommend you to do, but I don't have much of a choice. What I'm going to do is cut that bolt, get that arm off, get the new arm on, get the new knuckle hub assembly on, put everything back together, torque it, get on the floor, go down to the unit. And yes, I said the unit, that's a bit of a secret that because of this, you might actually see sooner than I was expecting. But yeah, I'll get to that later on anyway. After that, what we're going to do is jack it up, get the wheel off, probably get the arm off again. And then what we're going to do is find the best, easiest way to cut a bit of that body, get that off, take that nut off, clean everything, get probably a new nut, get it in place, weld it properly, and then after that, put that piece of metal back on, weld it to the body of the car, clean it, spray it, and put the other bolt in. And hopefully that should be it. I mean, that shouldn't have to be a part of it, but you know, the way that it's been made is a bit silly, because the nut is located in a place where the air and where the water can come in, and then get corroded onto the bolt and onto the nut, and then they get seized together. As this one, 90% of the time you're probably able just to take it off, and it probably comes off easily, but for some reason my one didn't, which I don't know, but lately with my luck on corroded bolts, it's been second to none, so you know. But it is what it is. We're gonna get cracking, and I'll see you in a bit. At the moment I don't have a press at home, so I took it to work and I pressed the new wheel bearing into the new hub. Now that the assembly is back on, there's a few things we're going to have to be careful with. Remember your mark on your camber bolt and your shock absorber, align that together, and then I suppose at this point you know what you're doing, but if not, we're going to put here a spanner and we're going to torque it on this side. Same thing at the bottom, okay? We can torque then or caliper carrier or caliper or ABS bolt, which is there. But just remember the axle nut and the 3 bolts at the back of the suspension arm, those ones we're going to torque them when the vehicle is under its own weight. I like to do as well my anti-roll bar link, so that is not torqued yet. Some of you might know how to torque the axle nut and why we do it when the vehicle is under its own weight. But if you don't know how you should be doing that, I'll show you. It's quite simple. What we do is pop this center cap off. We pop that center cap off. We put a wheel on. We tighten our wheel nuts. We lower the vehicle on the floor, and then we can tighten our axle nut. As you can see, the axle has an incision here. What I want you to do is get a chisel and hit it here, so you create a V shape to lock this nut in place, just like this one. As you can see.
Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head.
I know I did a shit job recording all the welding and cutting and all that, but I was doing this quite nervous. It was the first time, but she's all done now. And I could have done this job without Lee, to be honest. He did all the cutting, all the welding. I was shitting it, I didn't want to do it. It is what it is. Sometimes when I work on my cars, I get a bit more nervous and a bit more afraid to do things than when I'm working on someone else's car. So yeah, I never did a weld like that in my life, and I didn't want this one to be the first one. So massive thank you to Lee. And I think this is going to be it for the video. I think it's already quite long, so let's cut it here. So thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and I shall see you very shortly.